Okay, let's start the class. If you wonder why I'm wearing a hat, because I just don't want to fix my hair. Anyway, so let's start the class. Wonderful. Okay, we'll talk about chapter 10, and this is about operation management, productivities, and quality. In this chapter, we'll be explaining the meaning of the term production or operation and describe the four kinds of utilities it provides. Identify the characteristics that distinguish service operation from good productions, and explain the main differences in the service focus. Excuse me. We will describe the two types of operation processes. We're also going to describe the factor involved in operations, planning, and operation control. Further, we will be explaining the connection between productivities and quality. We try to understand the concept of total quality management, TQM, and describe the 9 tools that companies can use to achieve it. And also we'll explain how a supply chain strategy differs from traditional strategy for coordinating operation among businesses. Now, creating value through production. Operation management. It's a set of methods and technologies used in a production of a good or service. So it basically is a set of methods and technology used in the production of a good or service. Service operation, which is most of it in Canada, service operations, production activities that yield tangible and intangible services products. Good production, on the other hand, is a production activity that yields tangible products. This is what you call a time utility. Is when we are in a production or service, there is a time utility is when the product is available. There is what you call a place utility, where the product is available. Ownership utility, a consumption or use of product. And form utility, products form the transformation of raw material into a finished product. These are utilities that creating a value through a production while you're producing. These are utilities that a consumer is looking for. Now, the difference between services and manufacturing operation, the level and the interacting with the customer. Also, the service can be intangible and unsortable. The customers present in the operation process, And also the level, the service quality consideration. Intangibles make all the differences here, the service quality consideration. In the operations processes, goods producing processes is a method and technology used in the production of goods and services, classified by types of information technology, type of process, such analytical or synthetic, and the amount of customer contact. Now, in the the types of transformation technology is what we have: the chemical processes, the fabrication processes, the assembly processes, the transportation processes, and the clerical processes. But what's an analytical processes? Resources are broken down in the production processes, extracting mineral from forest, for example. Synthesis processes is a resource that are combined in the production processes, like a paint production or paint production. There is service producing processes. And here where we have analytical processes, synthetic processes, and service producing processes, which is customer are involved in and affect the transformation processes. Engineer to order for planes. Low contact systems, customers do not need to be physically present. High contact system, customer need to be physically present there. You see here in the hairstyle operational processes, the hairstyle service begin provide to this customer are classified of high contacts there, because he or she will be part of the operation, cutting hair and fixing up everything, whatever. This service also illustrates the three key features of services operation, which is intangibilities, customization, and unsortabilities. Business strategy, which is the drivers of the operation. It could be the quality, lower price, dependability, and flexibility, or a combination of these. Successful operation are carefully planned and implemented, and it's the use forecasting and planning, usually, as you know, and they take into the consideration capacity, quality, location, layout, and methods planning. I'll explain each one of them. So in the operation planning and control, you start with the business plan, as you see here, business plan and forecast, and then long-range operational plan like capacity, location, layout, quality, method. And then you start the operation schedule like master production schedule or MPS. detail the schedules, staff schedule, and project schedule. And then you have operation control, which is control, quality control, material controls, and output to the customers. And then you would check that. And if you need further operation or further scheduling or longer or a business adjusting the according the information are fed from output to the customer. Now, in the capacity planning for good and service, the amount of that a firm can produce under normal condition, that's the capacity. So the capacity always slightly exceed the normal demand. It's also accommodated seasonal change and peak times, address ways to use excess capacity. Now, there is some kind of a layout planning, which is a process layout, which is equipment and people are grouped by functions. And then you have a cellular layout, which is used when the families of product can follow similar flow path. And then you have a product layout, which is organizing equipment and people to produce one type of product, like assembly lines, industrial robotics, lean manufacturing. Other development in layout flexibility, you look at FMS or flexible manufacturing process, soft manufacturing, and movable factory. You can see the all manufactured for Sapporo. It's a nice one. Operation schedule. Scheduling goods operation, you need what you call MPS, master plan schedule, on the top level, which indicate which product, when, what resources, and what time. And then the scheduling at the lower level, which is MPS, lower than MPS, which is a scheduling service operation, which is, if it has a low contact, is based on desired completion date and or arrival. And then you have the high contact, is customer is directly involved, impact the scheduling itself. Now, the scheduling always driven by or monitored through different charts. One of them is called Gantt chart. It's a diagram of sets in the project and time required for each task. Can be used to check the progress, and this is an example of Gantt chart. Can I explain that? And then you have something called a PERT chart, which is, I think it's started by DuPont. And it specifies the sequence and the critical path of step in a project, can identify activities that cause a delay or a bottleneck. And you can see this one. Then what do you have? Operation control. It's about monitoring performance by comparing the result to the original plan benchmarking and scheduling. And that's done through follow-up checking to ensure the production decisions are being implemented, material management, looking at it, and production process control. The material management is about transportations, purchasing, inventory control, warehousing, and supplier selection. And it's about planning, organizing, and controlling the flow of material from purchases to distribution of finished goods. And all that considered to be inventory, by the way. Here's, you see, electronic distribution. Now, the tool for a process control or the under the operation control is you provide worker training. You try to implement everywhere just-in-time production system, material requirement training, how to use these materials, and the last but not least is the quality control or TQM. You seek in TQM after the quality control. Now, just-in-time or GIT production, parts are delivered when they are needed. Resources continually flow from raw material to a finished product, saves on warehouse costs, smooths the movement of product component. And these three things we speak about that. Just-in-time production, we can see it done in Honda. A type of lean manufacturing brings together our needed material at the price moment they are required for each stage in the production process. Then you have what you call MRP, which is connected to the first plan, which is this one, MSP, I believe it's called, which is, I'm sorry, MPS. MPS integrated with MRP usually, and MPS is driven from the ERP. And then you have the MRP, which is material requirement planning. It's a computerized bill of material estimated production need. And this is really set it up by the engineers. Resources are required and put into the production only as needed. That's the MRP. Then you have what you call MRP2 or manufacturing resource planning. Is different than material resource planning. But actually all of them MRP under one MRP. It's an advanced version of MRP and ties all the part of the organization into production activities. So MRP takes into consideration the production. It's a scheduling in a way, production, inventory, human resource, marketing, and finance. Then you have what you call a quality. That is something that we hear a lot about. A product's fitness for the use in a term of offering the feature that consumer wants. That's what you call a quality. Measuring productivities different than qualities is the productivity is a measure as a ratio of output to input. Often use labor for input because the data is easily available. So labor productivity we use or machineries or whatever, but the labor productivity is a GDP or gross domestic product, how many produced, divided by total number of workers. Now you have what you call a domestic productivity. And the domestic productivities is a productivities affect the standard of living, like employee wage, investor like a profit, and customer like a prices. Manufacturing productivity is higher than service productivity in general. But service industry have made some recent gain from modern information technology that eliminate inefficiencies. Here we look at productivity is probably in India. Pretty tough place, eh? Workers at this cell, see in Bangalore, India, field calls from the customers of multinational firms headquartered in North America and Europe. I've been seen that one of these for telco. Many jobs like this are outsourced to service suppliers in India because workers there receive a lower wage, used to be, than their North American counterparts. This translates into the higher productivity since the costs are lower on doing it. Yeah, this is true. But when you reach to the higher consultancy and high-end consultancy, it becomes the same prices almost. Productivity between industries differed widely. Agriculture, computer, steels gained from new technology. There are different productivities. The impact, the labor union also, negotiation, the investors and the suppliers. These are all we can discuss the effect on productivities. And then you have the company productivities, which is high productivity gives a company edge. Lower costs allow for lower prices, more profit, and a higher wage. These are things that company looks at it as a company productivities, and investors buying stocks, employees, profit sharing plans, manager plans for the futures. Those are impacts on it. But the most important, one of the most important subject in this chapter is TQM, or total quality management. It includes all the activities and part of the business like customers, suppliers, and employees. Leadership and customer focus are key. Customer delightness is also now. Requires highest level of commitment, no defect are tolerable, and highlights continuous improvement. All employees are responsible for maintaining quality standards. We have what you call a performance quality, which refers to the feature of a product and how well it performs. We have a quality reliabilities, which refers to the consistency and repeatabilities of performance. And then you have quality ownership, the idea that the quality belongs to each person who create or destroy it while performing a job. Now, there is a different tools for quality assurance is like a, what do you call, a competitive product analysis, value added analysis. You have statistical process control. You have a quality cost studies. You have a quality improvement team. You have what you call a benchmarking, getting closer to the customer, ISO 9000, ISO 1400, re-engineering adding a value through the supply chain. These are all quality assurance tools. And in the value added analysis, for example, is we're looking at evaluation process to determine the value added by all work activities, material flow, and the paperwork. Also reveal and eliminate the waste activities. So we evaluate all these 3 steps and then reveal them and eliminate the wasteful activities. Now you have something called SPC, or statistical process control, driven from benchmarking, and SPC is a method enable manager to analyze the variation in production data, detect when the adjustments are needed to create a product with the high quality reliabilities. And then you have the process variation is a change in employees' material, work method, or equipment that affect output quality. And then you have what you call a control chart, which is a statistical control method, result plotted on some kind of a diagram, and result outside the control limit easily spotted. So there's like a control limit and there's a spot on it, or control limit spot on it. Tools for equality, we continue to tools for equality, which is that quality cost studies, which is assessing quality related costs and identifying area with the cost saving potential. Quality costs are associated with the making, finding, repairing, or preventing products defects. Require determine the cost of internal failure and external failure. What costs us after the production if something fails or side fails? Now, what do? You group of employees from various areas need to define, analyze, and solve a quality problem. And then basically this quality improvement teams, their goal is to improve work methods and products. This is very applicable in Germany a lot. May involve brainstorming, discussion, and the use of quality cost studies that the company collects. Then you have, as we said, a benchmarking, which is an important field for analyzing. In a benchmarking, is compare the quality of a firm output with the quality of the output of the industry leaders. Now you have what you call also internal benchmarking. It's a compare to the past performance, and external benchmarking compared to competitors' best practice. And we're not going to talk about this. ISO 9000, ISO 1400 is basically product testing, employee training, record keeping, correcting, and it's to earn the rating firms and measured by qualified consultant, or you can do it personally within the company. It's a program certifying that a company meet a rigorous standards of the International Organization for Standardization, ISOs. And then you have a business process re-engineering, which is redesigning business process to improve performance, quality, and productivity. Then what you have, a supply chain or value chain, or in that process, you do adding value through the supply chain. You look at the supply chain, you try to add value. A group of companies and a stream of activities involving getting the product from a raw material to the end consumer. That's the supply chain. We can take a look at this one. Now, in the supply chain management, it offers a competitive edge because companies are working together to improve the flow of goods. And take a look at the customer gets a better value, smooth flow of accurate information, reduce unwanted inventories, materials move faster to business customers and consumers. So the materials move faster to business, customers, and consumers. Question. Many of us will pay an extra service fee to get cash from private ATM machine because of the what utility it provides. Your answer, guys, is a place utility. Which one, A, B, C, or D process combine a number of raw materials such as glasses and wood to produce a finished product such as table and table. Okay. Synthesis. Bring things together. Now, which charts break down large projects into steps and specify the time required to perform each one? They not only shows the necessary sequence of activity, but identify the critical path for meeting project goal. Right. Your answer? PERT. Which one is utilized computer system to estimate the production needs so the required resources are available when it needs? That should be an easy one. Your answer? MRP. Well, British Airways examine its work process to improve efficiencies and customer satisfaction. They conducted a value-added analysis by looking directly at every element in their what? Competitive advantage, in the SWOT assessment, in the quality report, or supply chain. Your answer is supply chain. Thank you, guys. And this is end of the chapter.